Welcome. By way of introduction, I'm Rebecca Ames. I'm Client Success Manager here at K-12 Insight. I joined K-12 Insight back in April, but I've been in EdTech for almost 5 years, and then I was in public education for about 15 years before that. So very excited to join you today. And joining us, you already know her, I'm sure. We have Sharon. Sharon is our Senior Client Success Manager. I'm sure you've seen her present many of our office hours in the past. She is a wealth of knowledge and information when it comes to Let's Talk and K-12 Insight. So we're very fortunate to have her today helping us out in the chat. So as any questions come up, please go ahead and put those in the chat, and Sharon will either answer them or she'll voice them out loud if she feels like it's something that we need to answer together. So as everyone is logging in, I would love to hear, we want to just get kind of an idea. You know that we're going to be talking to you today about our IT service management and IT asset management platforms that we have. And we would love to get an idea of how you're currently managing your IT requests and processes that come in. So Sharon's going to go ahead and launch a poll for us. Here it comes. All right. And so what we'd love for you to tell us is, how are you currently handling those requests that come in? Are you logging into an existing platform like Incident IQ, ServiceNow? I know there's others as well. Maybe you're having folks complete a Google form, or maybe they're just sending an email, text, phone call, maybe even catching you in the hallway, right? Or if there's another way, let us know that as well. So we'll give a couple more minutes, maybe a couple more seconds for folks to answer those and let us know. Okay, good. So we're seeing folks that have an existing platform already, some emails and phone calls and texts being used. Tell us if you chose other, tell us in the chat what that other is that you're utilizing. Okay, do we have everybody, Sharon? Did everybody respond?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and share those results, or what are we?
I did. They popped up and
Perfect.
then they've gone away.
Awesome, great. So thanks so much. That gives us some really great insight about what your current processes are, and I'm really excited to share with you a new option that you might not already know about. So as we dig in and show you these new platforms, I want to just take a second and ground ourselves in this idea of customer service, right? Because as many of you know, that's what K-12 Insight and Let's Talk are all about, enabling customer service excellence in K-12 districts just like yours. If you attended our office hours back in April, you were already part of the conversation that Sharon started about how and why customer service is so important now more than ever. So as we're all aware, public school budgets are under threat, right? School choice movement is picking up at the state level, and then there's some federal policy shifts that are also adding to that uncertainty as well. So as a result, we know that districts now more than ever need to focus on driving as much operational efficiency as they can to ensure that they're spending their budgets effectively, but still keeping humans in the middle of it. We also know that districts need to be able to defend and win as much of that student market share as possible to ensure that they're safeguarding as much of their budgets as they can. And finally, we know that districts are always working towards building effective working relationships with school boards. And that means reducing as much friction as possible in a time of, political polarization and uncertainty. Well, the amazing news about that is that customer service excellence helps you do all three of these things. And we know that IT leaders are playing a key role in making that happen. Take a second and look at the quote on my screen. I'm sharing this quote because it really encapsulates our thinking on the evolving role of IT in public schools. In fact, I think it's important enough. I'm going to go ahead and just read it. I don't usually like to read things on the screen, but I'm going to read this so that we can all kind of take it and process it. So IT leadership in schools is not limited to managing devices and networks. It is to lead on the imperative of digital transformation and to fully bring our schools into the 21st century. This means 21st century processes, efficiencies, reliability, precision, and a 21st century customer experience. So Dr. Brown who is the one who shares this quote with us, his own pathway to the superintendency is one that's likely to become more common. He's currently the superintendent at Ithaca City Schools, one of our partners. But before that, Dr. Brown was a CIO at a school, so at a county school. So he knows that critical role that technology plays when it comes to running a school district. In fact, we know that IT leaders like you are becoming the engine of a district's digital transformation. We know that you've moved beyond just managing networks and devices into strategic roles, and you're really driving district-wide improvement. And with technology playing a key role in classrooms and district operations, IT plays a critical role in ensuring transparency, responsiveness, and really efficiency in every digital interaction. And IT enables leaders throughout a district to make informed choices by integrating systems, improving accessibility, and measuring service effectiveness. And finally, we know that IT doesn't just bring in tools. You all are leading the change in modernizing processes and fostering a customer-centric, service-oriented mindset. So it really just made sense for us to extend our customer service capabilities deeper into the IT world. And our approach to customer service is the same. We're dedicated to simplifying access for everyone. We know that a tool that no one can find or use isn't helpful. We're ensuring that we respond within an agreed upon time frame. If we say that we're going to get back to someone within 2 days, we're going to get back to them within 2 days or sooner, right? And then we also want to make sure that we're delighting our customers at every step. We're meeting those expectations for that customer experience. And we're talking about not just being fast and accurate, but kind and courteous as well. And if you're listening to this thinking that maybe your team doesn't yet have these skills, maybe your team is just used to kind of just dealing with tickets, but maybe don't yet have some of those soft customer service skills, let's chat after our time today, because we actually do offer a full customer service professional development to ensure that your teams are equipped with those skills that they're going to need to be able to handle some of these interactions that we're talking about today. So as we're looking at this model, it's important to remember that this holds true through every department in your district and in every school building and for every customer. We're talking students, families, teachers, and staff, and even community members. And it's going to cover every input channel for service requests and inquiries, including the telephone, right? So as we started to consider what this could look like within an IT department, we did some reflection, and then we asked a lot of questions to IT leaders like you. And what we found as we dug in is that there was a lot of IT tools out there, but a lot of them just didn't fit school settings. If I can borrow from Goldilocks, some were too basic, but most were really just way too complex. And they required so many additional steps and processes that it really just became unmanageable for districts. So we really wanted to build something that was just right for schools. And at K-12 Insight, we believe that our relationship with you goes far beyond what's a typical vendor arrangement. We're not just here to deliver a product and move on. We really do see ourselves as your true partner in improving operational efficiency and customer service in your district. We don't just solve current challenges. We actively work with you to develop and expand our capabilities based on your specific needs and feedback. In other words, your insight is what's driving our innovation. We're also committed to ensuring a smooth and successful implementation. Our team's with you every step of the way, providing expert guidance and hands-on assistance. And our support doesn't end after deployment. We offer robust and responsive technical support to address any issues that arise and ensure that you have continued success. Basically, we're invested in your success because we were born in K-12 education, and our mission is to support yours. We're in this together. We also brought in some of the best in the industry when we were developing our ITSM and ITAM solutions. You might already know them. Tom and Lenny are pretty well known in the K-12 technology world, and for good reason. They bring tremendous depth of real-world experience working in technology in public school districts, and their expertise, along with input from other district partners, is what led to ITSM and ITAM requirements. And as we were designing this unified service desk, we really wanted to ensure that the experience was personalized and that it was always on in some capacity. We wanted to ensure that it was enterprise-wide and enterprise-grade, meaning that it covered everything you wanted and met our quality standards for uptime, security, reliability. And because we serve K-12 and we understand the human capital constraints that districts operate under, we really wanted to make it easy to use, easy to deploy, easy to manage. And then we wanted it to be able to provide some straightforward training and deliver a system that could flex and grow to meet your needs as they evolve. Well, we're really excited to share with you today that that's exactly what we've created with our IT service management system in Let's Talk. And then because we know that IT help desks are best and most efficient when there's an integrated view of all IT assets, we also built an IT asset management system to go with it. Okay, before we dig in and I show you these systems, I want to hear, first of all, are there any questions before we dig in? And then we'll watch for those to come. But then we're going to launch another poll, because what I want to hear from you is, what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing? So we talked about kind of the systems that you're using, but what are the challenges that you're seeing? And Sharon's going to go ahead and launch that poll. And we give you like some choices. So are you experiencing, and you can choose more than one, right? So tech sprawl, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and it's kind of hard to know where people should go for help. Growing backlogs, you're already limited. So you find yourself answering kind of the same questions over again. Or maybe there's like misdirected help requests. They're going to the wrong people, which kind of delays things and causes some frustration. Or maybe it's lack of visibility. It's hard to see where things are and get information that you need about those issues. Or just generally high frustration, right? People are coming to you, they're already not happy. So which of those things, and it can be more than one, are challenges that you are facing? Okay, yeah. Starting to see some of those come in. And Lori's mentioning in the chat some misdirected requests too. Yeah. Okay. We'll give a few more seconds for folks to share those. If there's anything that we didn't capture in the poll, feel free to tell us in the chat as well. Okay, so lots of folks having that tech sprawl issue, looks like, where people are just kind of doing their own thing. It's hard to kind of figure out where to go for things, right? Some backlog issues, lack of visibility. Okay. We're almost there. We've got 75% participation. We'll give maybe a few more seconds for folks to still kind of consider and think about it before they respond to that poll. All right. Okay, well, while those are coming in, thank you so much for providing that. That's really great information. I think based on what you're sharing, I think you're gonna really like what we have to show you today. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll keep an eye on the poll. If there's any other stuff that's coming in, Sharon, let me know if we need to pause or do anything else with that. But I think we'll go ahead and dig in. Okay, so so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through 3 different experiences. You're going to see what customers see when they submit IT tickets, what agents are seeing when those tickets are received, and then I'll walk you through that asset management platform that can be used for tracking all of the different assets that you have in your district. So as Let's Talk users, you probably already know, like, you can set up on your Let's Talk landing page a topic, and you can have anyone in your community kind of submit dialogues about any technology issues they're having. What we received was feedback from IT leaders that they wanted a little bit more of an authenticated experience. So we've actually created a separate experience, a separate system, so that you can create a login, or you can use a login that you already have if you use, an SSO or an SIS. And that's what you're looking at on my screen right now. This is what your students, teachers, staff, parents, they'll be able to log in, again, using the login information that your district has already created to this IT service management platform. And this is where they'll submit requests, access updates, resolve any issues. And the great news is that your folks can do this from anywhere, from any device. So here's what this looks like. I, in this particular district, am logged in as a teacher. So everything that I need is going to be on this home page. So you can see at the top here, I can request support for myself, or I can request it on behalf of one of my students or someone in my class, because this has been integrated, like I said, with our student information system. And then as we move down the page a little, we have some self-service options here. We have a knowledge base where you can have articles that are going to be helpful. You also have a chat bot. So I can engage with this chatbot. And let's say that I have something where like it's something that doesn't really need a human to intervene. I can set this up for the chatbot. So let's say I'm going to say, how can I reset my password? So now instead of a human having to take the time to come in and answer, if this is something that you have a system already for, you can have your chatbot set that up and save sort of that time for your team as well. The great thing about this is you can actually integrate this. You can tie this to your chatbot at your district. And so you can create different chatbot profiles as well. So you could have one that's more parent focused, one that's designed to support issues that teachers might face, etc. So all of those things can be really helpful. And then I also have the ability to get some phone support. So if I click on this right now, it's just set up to take me to the phone number for my school office. But I want you to know that Let's Talk does actually offer a fully integrated call center as well, which is great for handling any of those phone calls that come in. And then finally, you can see that this has some information in my profile already. So you can see all of the classes that I'm teaching. I'm very busy. I have lots of classes. Any of the requests for support that I have submitted in the past. And then here you can see known issues. And what we mean by known issues, these are the issues that are happening already within my district. They've already been reported within my district. So if something isn't working for me, I can check here to see if my IT team is already working on it. And that's going to help me decide if I need to submit a ticket, or maybe I just want to watch for any status updates that come in. So for example, I can see that right now my district is having some trouble with some of the machines crashing after a software update has been applied. So if that's an issue that I'm having, I'm going to go, oh, okay, I don't really need to submit a ticket for that. I'm just going to watch here to see when it's resolved, because my IT team already knows about that. And on the other end, that's going to save your agent some time, because they're not having to maybe answer some of those duplicate tickets. And we'll look at what that looks like a little bit more in depth when we look at the agent side of things. And then I can see all the devices that have been checked out to me, which, because this isn't a real district, I don't have any devices checked out to me, but this is where they would appear. So let's go ahead and submit a ticket together. Let's say that one of my students is experiencing some difficulties with one of their devices. So I'm going to go ahead and click on request support for my class. And then here, all of the classes that I teach pop up because of that SIS integration that I mentioned. And the student who needs support is in my geography class. Okay. And then here's all of my students that are in this class. And Calvin is the one who needs some support. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Calvin. And again, because of that SIS integration, there's lots of information, lots of stuff that is already populated in here that I don't need to populate for Calvin. And you can see also, here's another place where I can see those known issues. So I can actually click into those. I can see that it's in progress. There's maybe been some updates to that, and that's where I can look here. So if that's the same issue that Calvin was experiencing, I could come in here and go, okay, I'm not going to submit a new ticket because I know that this is already an issue, and I can see the requests that have been, the updates that have been published here already. So, but since this is not the issue that Calvin is experiencing, let's go ahead and submit a ticket. So all this information is here. I can say which type of support I need. Calvin's computer is running really slowly. So we're going to submit a ticket for that. And I can say whether it's just Calvin, whether it's lots of kids in my class, or maybe even the whole building that are being impacted. And then this is a feature that I really like, because as a teacher, I spent a lot of time trying to track down asset ID numbers, barcodes, all of those things. But here with this system, I can see all of the devices that have already been checked out to Calvin, and I can decide which one, or I can see which one is being impacted here. And so then I can go ahead and just say, okay, Calvin's computer is running slowly. So I can put as much of a description in here as I think will help, right? So Calvin's computer is running slowly, please help. If this was an issue where a picture would help, I could add an attachment here of like a picture or a photograph of the issue. And then I can go ahead and click on submit. Now, once I click submit, it's going to go ahead and take me into kind of my inbox for the tickets that have been submitted. I can see any tickets I submitted on my behalf, but I can also see the students' tickets that I have submitted. And so here's the one that we just submitted for Calvin. So this is where I can click on it and I can really easily see what's happening with this ticket. If I needed to message the agent, right, about this, I could send a message to them. When the agent starts working on this ticket and they send a message back to me, it'll show up here. And then if for any reason this ticket kind of resolved itself before even an agent was supporting, I could go ahead and click resolve. But this is just a really great way for me to track the ticket status, view any updates that come in, and then manage all of those conversations about that ticket in one place. Okay, before we head over to look at what the agents that are managing tickets are going to see, are there any questions? Sharon, anything come up in the chat?
Nope, we're looking good.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and switch over to what it's going to look like for an agent who is handling tickets that come in. So let's see here. Make sure that we've got this up. Okay, so here is what it looks like for an agent when they come in to handle those tickets in Let's Talk. So those of you that are Let's Talk users, this looks very familiar to you already. You already know what this looks like as far as regular dialogues that come in, okay? And so we can hopefully see if we're going to be able to see the ticket that we just submitted. There it is. Okay, so you can see on the left-hand side, I've got all these different icons. I want you to notice this little gear icon. You'll have to look, it kind of goes away when I hover over it, but do you see the gear icon next to the one that we just submitted? That is an indicator that this is an IT ticket. And then when I click into it, we're going to get some more information. So first thing I want you to notice is at the top here, there's this yellow bar that indicates that this is a proxy ticket, meaning that it was submitted on behalf of someone else, most likely a student, right? And then I can see all of Calvin's information is in here. If I click on customer, I can see information about the school that Calvin attends. I can even see his parental information if for some reason I needed to contact one of Calvin's parents about the device or the issues that he's having. And then I can see the history of any tickets that have been submitted on Calvin's behalf as well. And then when I look over here on the right-hand side, this is the part that will look really familiar to you as Let's Talk users. You've got this gray bar. Remember, anything above that is going to be things that when we reply are going to go back to the customer. In this case, it's going to be the teacher is the customer, right? And then below this, these are where my team internally can have conversations and can handle as this ticket gets resolved, right? Now, let's say on this right-hand side, I've got these 3 dots here. This is where I can do lots of actions for this ticket. I want to draw your attention to this add to global ticket. If for some reason this ticket came in and I noticed that it was really similar or the same issue as other tickets that I've been receiving, I can add this ticket to a global ticket. And I'll show you more about global tickets in a minute, but this is what that looks like. And then otherwise I can go ahead and manage it just like I would a Let's Talk ticket. I can reply to the customer. And then remember in this case, it's the teacher that's going to go back to that teacher's inbox. Whenever this ticket is closed, that teacher is going to receive a survey for a customer satisfaction survey, right? To give us some information about how they feel like that ticket was managed. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. So I mentioned global tickets before. I want to show you. So we saw the little gear icon on some of those tickets. Notice that these tickets all have that little the little globe icon. And that indicates that these tickets are global tickets. So let's look into one of these tickets here. Now, remember that I said that a global ticket is part of a known issue, right? So if I have a whole bunch of tickets that are coming in that are about the same thing or dealing with the same issue, I can mark all of those as part of a global ticket. And then right here, you'll be able to see all of the tickets that are part of that global ticket. And as an agent who is handling those tickets, I can reply to all of those tickets, right? And give information, send all that information out to multiple tickets at once. And then right here, I can choose to publish those updates to the customer portal. Think back to when we were on the customer side of things, the teacher side of things, and we were looking at those known issues and we were looking at those updates. That's where these will show up. So if I choose to publish my updates to the customer portal, it's going to show those updates over there so that teachers can kind of see. I might not want to do that because maybe I only want the 2 or 3 people that are handling this ticket to receive those updates, but I do have that option to do that if I would like to. Then the other thing I was going to show you is you can actually use this green pencil icon up here to create new tickets. So let's say, for example, an agent receives a phone call or someone in the hallway says, hey, I'm having a problem. Even if that origin point isn't the customer portal, your agents can still go ahead and generate either a general ticket or a global ticket. And that's a great way to make sure that these issues are then handled in one place. Any questions about the agent portal before we move on to one last platform that I want to show? I don't see anything coming in the chat. Sharon, let me know if there's anything that we need to look at before we move on to the next one. All right. Okay, so I have one more platform to show you, and this is that IT management asset management system that I mentioned. This is a separate add-on that integrates with Let's Talk. And when you integrate with Let's Talk, you'll access everything right here. So I'm going to click on my name, and then this is where I would go to access that customer portal that we already looked at. But when I click on IT assets, we're going to get to see our asset management system. So this page that we're on right now is called our Asset Management Explorer. And what we have done is we worked with IT leaders, we took feedback from them, and we created lots of different views based on things that they told us were important for them to be able to see when it came to managing assets, right? But what I want to show you is if for some reason you look at this and there's a view here that you don't see, you can create your own view. So you can go ahead and click on Create New. You can make that whatever it needs to be, and then it will also show up here on this Explorer page. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and look at all of our devices, and what's going to pop up is this really comprehensive asset tracking table, right? And this has been organized into complex assets and simple assets. So you can see those categories up here. Now, complex assets are going to be maybe some of those more high value items like laptops, desktops, projectors, and most likely you're probably tracking those pretty closely and maybe using some barcodes to do that. Simple assets might be some things that are a little more higher volume items, like maybe screen protectors, keyboards, mouses. I never know how to say that when we're talking about more than one. You're still tracking those for inventory, but you don't necessarily need to track them as closely because they're not quite as high dollar value. And then the other thing to note about this table that you're seeing here is all of these details, all of these columns in this table, they're here because of the feedback that we received from district IT leaders based on what was the most critical asset details for them to track. So let me find an asset that we can click on and look at. Let's look at this MacBook. So when I click on this asset, you can see this pops up, and I can see lots of information about this asset, right? I can see its status, I can see its serial number, the manufacturer, the cost of it, what budget it came from. All of that information is available for me to see. If I click on tickets, I can see all of the tickets that have been submitted for this device, both now and then maybe in the past. And then timeline is going to give me basically all of the information about what this device has done and where it's been since it came into my district. And then I also want to note we do have this mobile data management system here. So this is where you can keep track of all of those details that are going to help make sure that your devices are ready to go and up and running when it comes to managing those mobile data management. All right. The other thing I want to show you is you can actually filter and do some searches with some filters. So if I click on more filters here, let's say, for example, I want to know how many printers there are at Bell High School. Now, this probably isn't going to pull up anything actually because there's not maybe exact data in here since this is a demo account, but I'm going to still show you because when I apply this filter, what I want you to see is that you've got this option to save this filter report. So let's say that I often have to look at how many printers there are at Bell High School. I don't have to go in and redo all the parameters for that search. I only did like 2 parameters, but if you wanted to be a little more complicated, you could do that, and then you could save it, and then you could go and access that anytime that you needed to. Let me go ahead and clear this so that we can see all of that. And then I'll show you. We also recognize there's a lot of value in doing kind of some batch operations, right? So I can go over here, I can click batch operations. And let's say that at the end of the school year, I know that I need to check in a bunch of devices that have been checked out to this particular school in this particular room. I can use my scanner, right? My barcode scanner device. I can set that up here, and I can go ahead and use that to quickly check in those devices. Or if it's the beginning of the school year and I'm checking out devices, I can scan student and staff IDs and scan asset ID barcodes. And that's going to instantly sync in Let's Talk so that shows up, those devices show up as either checked back in or checked back out. And then the other thing that I want to show you is we also received some feedback from IT leaders that they wanted to be able to have some workflows to kind of sort of trigger all of those behind the scenes actions, whether it's, looking at the life cycle of their devices, or maybe even notifying particular folks when an asset is either removed from your inventory or added to your inventory. You have the ability to set up all of those workflows here through these rule engine and adding these workflows. And then I want to show you this home screen. So this ITAM homepage is going to give you a really nice snapshot of all of your devices, and it'll give you some insights into what their statuses are and their usage. We've built a really great foundation here. However, there's lots more views and things that will be coming as we build this page, as we continue to build this page out. Okay, so that is our ITAM and ITSM. As you can see, Let's Talk has brought together ITSM, ITAM, and district-wide service delivery into a unified service desk. Whether it's managing tickets or tracking assets or providing self-service tools, Let's Talk empowers your team to deliver exceptional customer service and support efficiently and effectively. Any questions before we wrap up here? Not seeing anything come in. So one question that you might be having is, if you feel like this is a solution that you might like to explore more for your district, here's how we've broken it down for our founding partners. You can see we're offering a significant discount to our ITSM platform. And because we're still building out so much of our ITAM platform, we're offering it for free in year 1. And that's because we really want our users to become partners who are going to provide feedback as we build this platform out. So if after today you look at this and you think you'd like to explore this solution for your district, reach out to your CSM and learn more about how to bring this to your district or more about this process. And we will share that information more as well. Any questions that are coming in? I don't see any in the chat. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up today with thanking you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed walking you through these new platforms. I'm excited to see how these are going to benefit districts going forward. And Sharon and I hope that you'll join us for our next office hours, which is going to be July 29th. There is a QR code that you can scan to register. Next month, we're going to be talking all about improving operational efficiencies via departmental expansions. And we're specifically going to be looking at districts who have found a lot of great success using Let's Talk in their transportation departments. So take a second, scan that QR code, register. July 29th is the date of our next office hours. And we're excited to see you. All right, we'll stick around for a few more minutes in case there's any questions. Otherwise, watch for the recording of today's session coming to your inbox. Please feel free when you receive it to forward it to anyone in your district who may have missed that you think might be interested in learning a little bit more about this unified service desk option that we have created. I'm going to actually go back so that you can scan this QR code if I moved it too soon. Thank you so much. We'll stick around if there's any questions. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next month.